John Henderson Pierre, the beer and TV Ramble, looking at Newcastle. I just poured the beer and I just did something stupid with my little laptop. I apologize, but introduced in 1927. Um, to the world. It is distributed by Anheuser-Busch. I mean, excuse me, it's distributed by Heineken International. Um, Newcastle's 4.7, 67 score on with the Bros, but 76, I believe, with Beer Advocate, which means they like it. Um, I'm having to do this video again. The one I just did just a while ago, I just poured the beer. One I just did, I accidentally hit the stop button, and which I shouldn't have done. Wasn't paying attention. Just whatever. Not being focused. Shame on you, Mr. Pierre. Anyway, as I said, there's something about these beers that are overseas. Something about these beers. As you can see, the brown, very dark on my glass here. Brown color. A lot of lacing on this beer. 1927, the beer's been around, mostly in the UK. Came into the States, I believe, in the 1980s. Sales-wise, have been pretty good since then. Sales peaked in the UK in 1970s, and then, of course, by the sales were doing pretty good in late 90s and early 2000s here in the States. They say it is the working man's beer in the United Kingdom. Like we have our Bud Lights and Buds and Coors and whatever as the working man or PBR. To me, the working man beer. Many would consider this as the working man's beer in overseas in the United Kingdom, Great Britain. Paul malt and crystal malt, and you kind of see that and I taste it. And as I said, it's just something about these beers overseas they make that just gives that something kick to it, whether it be a pilsner, whether it be whether it be a Vienna lager style. You know, something those beers overseas have that they do in their brewing or their fermentation process that gives these beers a very uniqueness to it, which I like. So, um, you see this beer everywhere around. What was I going to say about this? Like I said, I had lost a bet with my boss, and I had bought him this beer. And something we were debating, and I said, all right, fuck it. Okay, I lost the bet, blah, blah, blah. So I gave him Newcastle, and they offered me it. I've had it before, and it's going back way back 2002 was the last time and I had this, and don't get this regularly or frequently, you know. Yes, I just go for the cheap shit, you know. Well, the good stuff. Well, the maybe could say is cheap shit, but or crap beer, or shit beer, but it's good beer. The Milwaukee's best. The Natty Ices of the world and whatnot. So pick up my kid in a little bit. It's kind of raining. It's gloomy day down here in the southeast today. Many beers you probably see on some of your restaurants, taverns, bars you go to. They'll have this on tap, and just like I said earlier, another a review I did of Foster's, their beers, particularly Outback, or go to some of these steakhouses and restaurants, they'll have them on tap. And something about beers on tap that tastes a lot better when it's in a bottle or a can. I just say, but um, but like I said, it doesn't. And again, the ABV on this beer here is only 4.7%, But when you smell it and get a whiff of it, you feel like this is probably a very strong ale, a strong beer, which it isn't, you know, in my opinion. But it's not. But it's pretty manageable, reasonable. You can have maybe a 6 pack of these, and you'll be okay and just kind of rest and chill. But you know, this is this is pretty good. Of course, they talk about the serving. Usually, it's in a pint glass or a glass such as this would be, be great for this beer. Um, they're you know, one thing I would say about Newcastle, um, um, it's not it's a historic, not historic beer, but it's a beer that has sort of like you can bring. It's okay to bring to a party. Um, you want to impress your friends, you could bring this to a dinner party with them. You could bring this to a nice little social gathering. It's only gonna be like maybe 7 people having a little dinner, real small, casual. You want to bring this, there's nothing wrong to have this beer, to bring that beer with for a meal. Whether it be, this would be good with a steak, in my opinion. Um, Chili, a nice little beef stew. But I think a good hearty, nice meatloaf and mashed potatoes. This would be a good pairing of this beer. So I wouldn't mind. I'll bring this to a dinner party. Now, my guests, now in the area I live in, and the people I deal with, unfortunately, I'm one who's very open minded about any styles of beer, whatever. But if I know if I brought this, the like, what the fuck, man? What's this? What the hell are you doing? What the fuck are you bringing this here for? Why are you bringing this? We don't drink this shit. Come on. When you got any Yingling, they're starting to somewhat embrace. Um, so when I bring the black and tan around, they'll embrace that or the lager. But most times they won't embrace the other beer. So go figure. Anyhow, you know, you know, um, looking at a little more things here about this. You want to get it in bottles. I don't see it in cans of this beer. I haven't seen it. I haven't looked at it. I haven't found it in cans. It's probably in cans. I know when you go to cruise ships, I know when I've been on a few cruise ships, I saw several beers that, I've had before, and I looked and I did a double take and say, wow, there was in a can like, not Stella Artois, but it was another beer, a Molson beer. Was a Molson Canadian, the Molson beer we just did, or the Moosehead we just recently, I just reviewed with Ronald J. Terrio. That was in a can, and I just like, wow, I never saw this in a can. You know, Same with Newcastle. And when you go on cruise ships, you know how much you're going to be paying for a beer in a can or a glass of wine or a martini. So yeah, a lot. So, and when I am on those cruises, I try to make sure that I'm getting my stuff off the ship. You know, um, if I'm going to be drinking beer, I'll buy it out with the people on the street, which I know they're probably going to charge me not much, maybe $1 or two, or maybe $2. That's it for a beer, and just for me to sit and chill, which I think is the wise move to do if you want to save money on a cruise ship. Don't buy the beer, don't buy the stuff. Um, Buy it off when you get off the ship, and you're going to be out there frolicking with friends and family, certain place, and You want to try different things, you would do that. Anyhow, I'm gonna keep end this right now. Newcastle Brown Ale. I'm giving this a 9. Very good beer. So leave your comments. Tell me what your thoughts on the bottom. Join us in Beer and TV Remington. You keep watching, and as always, cheers.